Know this, but I was an officer, police officer for almost 2 decades. And there is a training that every officer in this country has taken, and it's called shoot, don't shoot. In shoot, don't shoot, the officer has the responsibility of determining when and when not to pull the trigger. There are many different scenarios placed before the officer, and they have to shoot or choose not to shoot, and then articulate why. And there's a very, very important piece to this exercise that all the officers utilize while making the determination to shoot or not to shoot, and that is cover. Each officer is behind cover while they give commands, while they make up their mind as to whether or not they need to take action, shoot or don't shoot. Cover is plain and simple. While they're giving commands, if they have that opportunity to do so, they're behind cover to preserve their own life, right? You and I have seen many videos on social media depicting white officers with white combatants who are armed and very irate, even trying to attack officers with weapons and things like that. These officers are very patient, working with them, trying not to pull the trigger. In many cases, not even pulling their weapon. And too many times we see situations where black individuals at the hand of white officers don't get that complimentary, considerate behavior. When it comes to us, it is simply, they got a gun, pow, 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 pow. When we're trained to take cover, got a gun, drop it, give some commands, right? Behind cover. Was any shots fired at the officer? I don't think any shots were fired. I could be wrong. From what I heard, a gun was recovered at the scene, no shots fired. So we got to piece this together. Those who were with the young man probably have a better idea of what happened. Can't trust law enforcement to tell the truth. I personally believe that he was trying to throw the gun down. I don't think the kid had a death wish, because to point a gun loaded when officers are running after you because you are in a stolen car, makes no sense. To shoot an officer simply because you're about to get caught for being in a stolen car makes no sense. You understand? But to have a gun on you, okay, in a stolen car every day, okay, did that mean that they were going to shoot the officer? Right? He has a gun. Whatever happened to cover? Remember? Shoot, don't shoot. He has a gun. Where? Cover, drop it. Commands. None of that. When it's us, you show up, he has a gun. Pow, 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 pow. Pow, pow. In life, no discussion. And there's this common claim that I'm so tired of hearing. I feared for my life. Do you know how many of us fear for our lives at your hand?
Hey, yo, what up? I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in, man. Come to Politics with your boy. Anyway, man. This Rodney Hinton Jr. case, man, is raising a lot of new questions, man. You know, this is looking real shaky, man. You know, now, a lot of you may have heard of this guy by the name of Rodney Hinton Jr. You know, to give y'all a quick recap, this guy, this is a guy who was a distraught father, man, after viewing the body cam footage of his son being tragically gunned down by a white police officer, and took it upon himself to get into his vehicle and to just go mow down a random police officer that was doing traffic, that was on traffic duty, you know, who wasn't even expecting this distraught father, man, to just floor his vehicle coming down the hill, man, and just head on into this officer, you know, who never expected it. You know, but anyway, the reason I say this case is raising so many new questions for me is because I reviewed this case a few days ago, you know, and I showed the early horizons of the situation. You know, his first court date, how the heavy police presence, you know, the family just under pressure, man, and just causing all kind of chaos and havoc in the courtroom. It was very interesting, man. It's sad to say the least. But this situation, man, is raising more questions than I thought. Was going to come about. I thought it was going to be like I knew it was going to be interesting. Because just everything that happened, man. This is not like a usual situation. But there's a lot of things that's going on that I have to say it's just not sounding right to me. From the charges that this brother was charged with. Now they're saying that he has two charges of aggravated murder. Aggravated homicide. Now, they're saying that he has the death penalty on the table. Now, the judge has the ability to give him the death penalty if convicted of these crimes. The prosecutor is requesting that the judge grant them that favor of sentencing this brother to the death penalty. Now there are conditions that they have to meet before they can move forward with that judgment. And some of those things are they have to prove that this brother Rodney Hinton Jr. They have to prove that he knew or should have known that this person who he mowed down with his vehicle was a police officer. And also they had to prove that Rodney Hinton Jr. Knew that this police officer was on duty. So they had to prove both of those things. They had to prove that he knew or should have known that this was a police officer who he ran over, and they had to prove that he knew that this police officer was actually on duty at the time of the crime, right? Now, it seems that his lawyer is trying to argue that, he wasn't in the right state of mind when all this occurred. His son was just tragically gunned down. He just left the police station hours or I believe a day before. He just reviewed the body cam footage of his son being tragically gunned down by a white police officer. And I sympathize. I empathize with that brother, man. To have to view footage of police officers gunning down his young son, man, and just knowing that they're moving fast to cover it up. They're trying to find a reason to justify, the murder of his son. And I believe that once Rodney Hinton Jr. Once he realized that these police they were going to run with the narrative that his son pointed a gun at the officer, when clearly in the footage, there is no gun visible. First of all, the footage after his son tripped, you could see the gun on the ground when his son tripped, while running from law enforcement. But when he got up off the ground and he ran between the dumpsters, everything was blurry, man. And that raised a lot of questions for me as well, man. As clear as those body cameras are in any other video, all of a sudden this video here, everything is just blurry. It just it looks fishy to me. But they're saying, even if you listen to how the police uh, how they talk. You know, how the authorities talk, man, when they're in these conferences, man, and they say, we believe. They never state facts. They never state evidence, 100%. They say we believe that to be. They use terms like that. We believe that to be the firearm right there, with blurry footage. But there is no evidence in that footage, man, that in order to prove that Rodney Hinton Jr.'s son was pointing a firearm at the officer. They said in a bladed position, so I'm guessing they saying he was running this way, but he had the gun like this, pointed towards the officer as he was running straight. They said that he had the gun pointed this way in a bladed direction, and the officer noticed that, he had the gun pointed at him, and that justified that officer using deadly force and tragically gunning this young brother down. Now, this father, Rodney Hinton Jr., was charged with a slew of charges, including 2 accounts of aggravated homicide, right? Now, first they were saying that, I believe they're still saying that Rodney Hinton Jr. is suspected to have been the driver of that car that mowed that police officer down. But now it's a lot of new evidence coming out, Well, I'm not going to say new evidence, but there are a lot of new questions, being raised that needs to be answered, man. Because if he killed the police officer, that means he killed the police officer. He killed one person. Why is he charged with two accounts of aggravated murder? Just by those charges points to the narrative that people were saying when this all happened, man. When they were saying that he wasn't even the driver in that vehicle. There was an older lady who was driving that vehicle, and she passed away upon impact, when she crashed that vehicle. And they were saying that there were other witnesses at the scene who helped to drag Rodney out the car and to try to render aid to, the deputy and the lady who was behind the wheel in the car, So that kind of ties into the narrative. It's all starting to make sense, why he's charged with 2 accounts of aggravated homicide, Now, it's just a lot of twists and turns, man. And the case ain't even got nowhere yet, man. It's a whole lot of questions that need to be answered, man. Just like this police officer, man. They first they were saying that the officers arrived in patrol cars, man. They was in uniforms. And there's footage, man, that the bloggers, man. The bloggers is going to do the digging, man. The bloggers are the best investigators, man. Social media, man, is going to do its job, man. People are concerned, man. And we just want to know the truth. And a lot of us got time on our hands, man. This is our craft. So and as one blogger get it, man, the rest of us we get it, and we sift through it, and we review it ourselves, and if we could use it, we'll use it. But another blogger found this officer who gunned down Rodney Hinton Jr.'s son, and this officer had a tattoo that is very popular amongst white supremacists, and there's a reason why they're not showing, they're not showing this officer, and there's also a reason why they said that they're not sharing the tape, the footage of Rodney Hinton Jr. Running down this police officer in the vehicle. It's a reason why they're not releasing that footage. all these things are raising, questions, man. Serious questions, man. Why not release the footage of Rodney Hinton Jr. if he's the, if he's the suspect, if he's suspected to be the driver of the vehicle that mowed down that deputy, man, then they shouldn't have a problem with releasing that footage, and they shouldn't have a problem with releasing a photo of this officer who tragically gunned down his son. So it's just now we know, like I said, the bloggers is at work, man, day and night, man, and we're digging up the facts, man, and this officer it's making a lot of sense why they're not releasing photos of this officer in the background of this officer. Now, another blogger, I'm not sure what the brother's name is. I'll probably leave a tag, for you to check him out. But this brother did some digging, and he found out, he found the officer who committed this crime, who unjustly gunned his young brother down. And this officer has a lot of he has a lot of stains on his jacket, man. Excessive force, excessive use of force, and just all kind of just wicked actions, man. That was never he just never was reprimanded for, man. And that's what happened, man. You got a lot of these times, you got these officers, man, who they don't suffer any consequences for their actions, man. And as a result, man, they go on to do more and more, just like any other criminal, man. They get away with things, man, and they level up, man. They continue to do more, just more gruesome crimes, man. But this is getting very interesting, man, to say the least. I'm gonna keep updating y'all on this story, man, as I as it come across my desk, man, and I review it. I continue to update y'all, man. But this is not looking good, man. And one thing I want you people to know out there, man, if your child or your loved one, man, get gunned down by the police or just get wrongly done by the police, never take revenge in your own hands, man, because there's no way it is impossible to beat the system. Now this brother Rodney Hinton Jr., he took it upon himself to get revenge, vigilante justice, man, in his own hands, But now, although he felt like he's even, they took his son and he took a random officer. Now they're looking at the uneven and to unlevel the playing field again, man, by trying to seek the death penalty for this brother. One thing about the law enforcement, they don't like to be equal, man. They do not like to be equal with any citizen, man. They sworn in, they feel like they're above the rest of the population, and as you know, man, police officer, the roots of a police, the roots of law enforcement stems directly from slave catching, and they always had a sense of authority, man, especially over black folks, man. So never try to get one up on a police officer, man, because you'll never win. It'll never turn out good for you, man. Sometimes, man, although it hurt, man, and it's unbearable, man, to endure the tragedy that they inflicted on you, man. Sometimes, man, you have to understand that you have to go about these things the right way, man, and try to get justice through the courts. Because anything other than that, man, you're just destined for failure, man, and it's not going to work. Now, this brother's father, man, Rodney Hinton Sr. disgusted me, man, by sympathizing with the officer who killed his grandson, man. That was the most cringiest thing, man, that I've seen all week. By this brother saying, I understand that he's a church, he's a God-fearing man, and he's a church-goer, man, and, he's probably has a forgiving heart. But they need to keep this man out of the press, man. Stop letting him speak, because this man is messing that case up. Whatever case Rodney Hinton Jr. Rodney Hinton Jr. Attorney has, whatever argument he has, man, the father is going to tear that case down, man, by doing these just talking, man, just doing too much talking.
As I seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too.
This father said that he seen two scared people, man. The officer and his grandson. Let me tell you one thing. That officer did not make a mistake. Yeah, your grandson was fleeing law enforcement. Many people flee law enforcement, but fleeing law enforcement is a misdemeanor. In most states, fleeing law enforcement, eluding law enforcement is a misdemeanor, not a death sentence. No officer should gun a person down for fleeing. That officer was not scared. And I don't know what Rodney Hinton Sr. seen, but that officer was not scared, man. And that officer didn't make any mistakes. He did exactly what he intended to do. And that was to gun that young brother down, man. For whatever reason, man, it's just these situations, man, they occur, way too often, man, than they need to. Anyway, man, it's your boy, Mr. 1751. And until next time, y'all stay up.
Tiffany, a very challenging morning in the courtroom. Rodney Hinton Jr. appearing to show no remorse for that alleged attack. As he was being escorted out of the courtroom, he appeared to shout at deputies he's going to be gone forever, though it's unclear if he's referring to the deputy that he's accused of killing or his son, who was killed by a Cincinnati police officer.